Welcome to the Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show on the Padres Radio Network. Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. Listen to Craig Stammen's postgame comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
Welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score in Philadelphia today in the series opener of this three-game set. Phillies 3 and the Padres 2. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Good to have you with us on this Tuesday evening. A lot to do on our postgame coverage. We'll recap this game from start to finish. We'll go back to Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, hear from Craig Stammen. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Much more. Maybe some of your phone calls a little bit later as well. So lots to cover on our post-game coverage in what has become a really rough stretch for the San Diego Padres, losing 3-2 to the Phillies here today. Padres have now lost 3 in a row. They have lost 7 of their last 8 games. And before we get to everything else, a couple of quick hitters for you about this game. I thought Jesse and Tony made an excellent point in the post-game wrap-up. This felt like a continuation of the series these two teams played at Petco Park last week in two ways. Number one, very close, low-scoring games. Same way here today. And also, unfortunately, the Padres losing the close, low-scoring game. Here are the scores of the 4 games between these two teams so far. 3-0, 4-3, 3-0, and 3-2. So Padres and Phillies playing very, very low-scoring, close, sort of nail-biter type games, but the Padres offense unable to ultimately get the third run to tie this game and give them a chance to win this game. We talk about the similarities in the series against the Phillies last week. This game was also similar in the sense of it very much mirrored what the issues have been for the Padres overall this year. We'll get into the offense in a second, but specifically on this road trip so far, when you think about the 2 losses on Saturday and on Sunday in Washington, D.C. against the Nationals, the first issue is obvious, right? We're all talking about it. It's a topic every day. The Padres offense just continues to struggle outside the 2-run home run by Gavin Sheets in the third. The Padres did not score again. It wasn't for a lack of opportunities. The Padres went 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position in this game. They had an early opportunity against Aaron Nola, Fernando Tatis Jr. on second base with nobody out. They had a runner on second base in the 4th inning, didn't score. They had 2 on in the 7th inning, 2 on in the 8th inning, didn't score. So opportunities were there in what became a 1-run loss. And the difference in this game ends up being a run scoring for the Phillies in the 6th inning on a double play ball. That was the difference in the game. Yes, Jeremiah Estrada's leadoff walk in the 6th inning didn't help. Certainly, but again, when you're looking at your pitching staff giving up 3 runs, you just hope that your offense can back them up a little bit, and didn't go that way here today. So offensively, similar issues, right? Just not all that productive as far as run producing, and issues with runners in scoring position. Another way this game was similar to the 2 losses we saw in Washington, some base running errors. Now, in Washington, little bit different. That was oversliding a bag. Look, you don't want to do it. It happens. I understand it happened on Sunday 2 times in 3 innings. Wasn't a great look. It happens. We talked about it plenty Sunday. Look, you got to find a way to stay on the bag in those big spots, but that's not a mental mistake. Okay, oversliding a bag. Fernando Tatis Jr., until this moment in the 8th inning, was having a great night. And if you want to pull a silver lining away from this game, it's the fact that Fernando almost hit his 2nd home run, hit the ball hard to left field off the fence, and had 3 hits in this game after taking an 0 for 4 on Sunday. Certainly silver lining to pull away from this game, that he continues to swing the bat well. But then Fernando made a really, really costly base running error in the 8th inning with the Padres down by 1. He's on first base, 2 outs. Miguel Andujar bounces one slowly to the third base side. Alec Bohm picks it up, heads up play by Bohm. fakes a throw to first base. He had no chance to get Andujar at first base with how slowly that ball was hit. And then Bohm fakes the throw to first, looks back to second, and Fernando just took way too big of a turn around second base. And again, there are 2 outs in the inning. Look, I love when Fernando is aggressive, but there's no reason to be racing for third base there. There are already 2 outs in the inning. He's in scoring position, and Fernando is probably going to score on any base hit in that next spot. So he takes too wide of a turn. Good heads-up play by Bohm. Throws behind him at second base. The Phillies get him in a rundown, and the inning was over. But again, I mean, we can talk about the base running, whether you want to talk about guys over sliding bags or you want to talk about Fernando making a base running mistake. I'm not making excuses. Those things will happen over the course of a baseball season. But when you zoom out and the lone run you had here tonight, the 2-run homer by Gavin Sheets, and that was it, and you went 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position otherwise, I mean, it's tough to win a game when you only score 2 runs. And to be honest with you, when you look at the rest of this series, and especially tomorrow, and you heard Jesse and Tony allude to it at the end there, it ain't getting any easier tomorrow with Christopher Sanchez on the mound for Philly, who has been about as good as anybody in baseball as of late. And the Padres just saw him. He threw up 7 shutout innings against them at Petco Park last week. So look, not getting any easier on this road trip and in this series. You got Sanchez tomorrow. You've got Zach Wheeler, who's obviously very capable on Thursday. And now it's a 1-3 trip. And again, the Padres have lost 7 of their past 8 games. And this offense is unfortunately still searching for answers and searching for ways to just bottom line be more productive as a lineup. And tonight, not a great example of it as the Padres fall 3-2. When we come back, we'll get into the game recap. We have Craig Stammen's post-game reaction coming for you as well. Padres fall in this series opener in Philadelphia. Our post-game coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score today, the Phillies 3 and the Padres 2 as the Padres drop this series opener in Philadelphia. As always, our postgame coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey, player with epic SoCal views, a full bar and poolside bites. Starlight Pool at Jamul Casino Resort is pool season perfected, and day passes are available. Jamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place. We'll head back to Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, hear from Craig Stammen coming up in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's recap this one from start to finish.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Our starting pitching matchup today, Aaron Nola on the mound for the Phillies, Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. Padres got a leadoff double from Fernando Tatis Jr. to begin the game. He banged one off the left center field fence, but they did not score. Nola would retire Sheets, Machado, and Andujar in order after that. Vasquez, meanwhile, opened the game with a 1-2-3 frame. Both right-handers tossed a scoreless second. Nola then retired the first two batters in the top of the third, but then Fernando Tatis Jr. singled. It was Gavin Sheets who was next.
Tatis pretty good lead at first, started then stopped. Sheets swings, hits it to the air to right field and deep. Garcia backing up, he will watch. This one gonna go! Gavin Sheets, a two-run homer here in the third, and the Padres go ahead. It's 2-0.
So a big swing for Gavin Sheets, home run number 10 for Gavin this season. Padres still led 2-0 going to the bottom half of the fourth. Trey Turner hit a leadoff single against Vasquez. Bryce Harper was next.
Harper swings, sends it in the air deep to left center field. Merrill's back at the wall. He can watch because it's going to go. Two-run homer, Bryce Harper. That'll tie the game here in the bottom of the fourth inning.
So a 2-2 game for Bryce Harper, his 14th of the season. From that point, both starting pitchers didn't allow another run. Vasquez went 5. Nola also went 5. So we had a 2-2 game. Going to the sixth inning, it became a battle of the bullpens. Jose Alvarado retired the side in order in the top of the sixth. In the bottom half, Jeremiah Estrada entered a 2-2 game. Estrada issued a leadoff walk to Bryce Harper. Brandon Marsh then singled. Harper went to third base. Alec Bohm then grounded into a 6-4-3 double play. Harper scored. Phillies took a 3-2 lead. That would be all Estrada gave up in that sixth inning. Orion Kerkering came on for the Phils in the top of the seventh. Padres got him in trouble. Xander Bogaerts drew a one-out walk. That brought up the guy making his major league debut tonight, Jace Bowen.
Owen swings, lines it into right center. That's down and a base hit. Bogaerts hits second on his way to third. He will get there, and the first major league hit for Jace Bowen.
So a big moment for Jace Bowen, a great moment for him, his family, his friends watching in the stands in Philly. But then Kerkering struck out Sung Moon Song. Ty France pinch hit for Freddie Fermin and grounded into a fielder's choice. The inning was over. Padres stranding 2. Yuki Matsui came on for the bottom of the seventh. He allowed 2 to reach base. Jason Adam then came in. Trey Turner hit an infield single to load the bases. That brought up Bryce Harper. Adam did a good job, induced a ground out to end the inning from Harper and strand the bases loaded. Brad Keller entered for the top of the eighth inning. Phillies still up 3-2. Fernando Tatis Jr. hit a leadoff single. Keller retired the next 2 hitters. Miguel Andujar then hit a slow ground ball to third. Alec Bohm charged it. He faked to throw to first base. Fernando Tatis Jr. turned the second base back too hard. Bohm threw behind Tatis. Phillies got him in a rundown. Fernando was tagged out. The inning was over. It was a costly base running mistake from Fernando Tatis Jr. Bradley Rodriguez pitched the scoreless bottom of the eighth inning. We went to the ninth inning. Padres still trailing 3-2. Phillies closer Joan Duran came on. He struck out Jackson Merrill. He struck out Xander Bogaerts. He struck out Jace Bowen. 1-2-3 inning, strikes out the side, and that was it here today. Final score, the Phillies 3 and the Padres 2. 3 runs on 9 hits, no errors for the Phils. 2 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Pods. Padres dropped 32-27 on the year. Phillies improved to 31-29. Winning pitcher Jose Alvarado, the losing pitcher Jeremiah Estrada, who gave up that go-ahead run in the 6th inning, and Joan Duran picks up his 13th save of the season. The Padres went 0 for 7 in this game with runners in scoring position. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. Again, the final, Phillies 3, Padres 2. More after this. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score here today, Phillies 3 and the Padres 2. Padres continue to struggle a bit. They've lost 3 in a row, 7 of their last 8 games. Again, the lone bright spot offensively in this game, Gavin Sheets, 2-run home run in the 3rd, gave the Padres a 2-0 lead. Bryce Harper responded with a 2-run shot of his own in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Phillies scoring a run against Jeremiah Estrada in the bottom of the 6th inning on a double play. That was after Estrada did issue a leadoff walk, then a single, runners on 1st and 3rd with nobody out. Bohm grounds into a double play to end, or I should say a double play that brings in a run, makes it 3-2. And unfortunately, despite some opportunities, good job of the Philly bullpen working out of trouble a handful of times to secure a 3-2 Phillies win. Again, Padres went 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. The offensive issues continue. And like we said, in the pregame today, it's not like the Phillies are tearing the cover off the ball either, and that was something that was a focus during the series in San Diego last week. The Phillies, keep this in mind. How about this? The Phillies are now 6-6 in their last 12 games. They have not scored more than 4 runs in any of those 12. I mean, that's kind of remarkable that they're 6-6 in a 12-game span. Again, they have not scored more than 4 runs in any of those 12, but I guess kind of the bad news is 4 of those 6 wins in their 12 against your San Diego Padres. That's kind of the unfortunate part. Phillies now 4-0 against the Pods, and like we've been saying, Christopher Sanchez, a very, very tough customer on the mound for the Phillies tomorrow. Let's go back to Citizens Bank Park in Philly. Let's hear from Craig Stammen after this 3-2 defeat.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
When you look at this almost, you look at the over 7 with runners in scoring position, or Jeremiah Walker, the leadoff batter there. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, all of the above. Recapping every game whenever they're close like this, where we could have, figured out a way to win on the margin there. And you know what? They just kind of outplayed us just a hair today. 1-run win by them. We didn't do the little things to, help us stay in the game and win that one.
Imagine Randy coming out at that point with the 80 pitches had everything to do with the first 2 guys coming up and what they had done against him.
Yeah, exactly. I think, we've been trying to figure that out, with our starting staff and the bullpen and using our strength to our advantage as much as we can. And that's kind of what we're trying to do there. Harps, I've seen him play for a long time, and he's a pretty darn good player, has a flair for the dramatic. And, the way he looked against Randy, he just had that look in his eye that he was seeing the ball really well. Not that Randy couldn't have got him out that next time, but it felt good going to our bullpen there.
What did you think of Randy on the whole?
Yeah, I thought he pitched great. I mean, he gave up 1 2-run home run. He had a few lineouts that got caught, but that's kind of what Randy does. He kind of figures his way to get in and out of it. Just one mistake, and one of the best hitters in the game took him out.
What was your perspective on the play with Tatis rounding second there? I mean, obviously that's a pretty bad spot to get caught there.
Yeah, one of those things, Fernando being aggressive. We've seen him do things like that and get away with it so many times that you don't want to take that out of him. You don't want to take that aggressiveness out of him. Does it look bad in that situation? Yeah, it does, but it's part of baseball. You're going to make mistakes. We tell our guys to be aggressive, make mistakes being aggressive. We can't be reckless, but sometimes you got to live with it.
How did Sheets hit that ball? How did Sheets pull that ball to the seats?
Well, he put the Titleist Pro V on the tee, and then he swung at it and hit it like a driver. Now he's a good golfer. He is a good golfer, but he's got a good baseball swing also, and that was right in his honey hole. That's the lefty honey hole. No fly zone, the down and in, the down anything for lefties. And so, he's been a bright spot in our offense all season. He continues to come up with big hits.
This is 4 losses to these guys. They're presumably a team that could be in it like you guys till the end in the National League. How kind of tough is that? And then how important is it to bounce back these next 2 against
Yeah, you're right. It is very important to bounce back. They've got some great starting pitching. All the games have been very close. They're a little bit nail biter games, and we just haven't been able to, come up with that big play that gets us that lead in the game where we can use our bullpen to finish it.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen following this 3-2 loss to the Phillies. Sam Levitt back with you inside our San Diego studios. As always, our post-game coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place. Just a quick aside, we'll talk plenty more tomorrow about Christopher Sanchez and what he continues to do, but the guy pitching on Thursday for the Phillies, Zach Wheeler, he's not too shabby himself, a 2.270 ERA in 7 starts. And look, when Wheeler's been healthy, he has been one of the better right-handers in baseball the last handful of years, as we know. But look, we'll focus on that tomorrow. A couple of things there. Look, you heard Craig talk about the play there from Fernando. Look, I generally agree with Craig that Fernando's aggressiveness is something that typically benefits him and the ball club. Look, that was a play in the 8th inning where, look, it's 2 outs already in the inning. I don't think you're gaining a ton if you're Fernando and trying to get to third base on that. And he just got overly aggressive and did not anticipate Bohm faking the throw and looking back to second base. I mean, it was a base running mistake by Fernando, but again, I just, for as long as the Padres continue to struggle offensively, to be honest, it's almost hard to point to other things when you look at some of these losses. I understand the Fernando base running mistake. That was, that was critical today. I understand Jeremiah Estrada walking a guy to begin the 6th inning in a tie game. Wasn't great today. That run ultimately comes into score. I understand oversliding the base a couple of times on Sunday. Not great. Some of the bullpen woes, leaving Michael King in, as he was struggling in the 7th inning on Saturday. The point is, if you're not scoring a lot of runs and you're having some of the sort of deep offensive struggles the Padres are having right now and throughout the first third plus of this season, I just think it sort of overshadows everything else, right? I mean, a lot of things can get fixed if you just score more. It's something we talked about, and I feel like I'm now hearkening back to a conversation we had all the time last year, okay? And I feel like I've actually been excellent this year at not framing things like this. But it does go back, and we said it so much last year. When you do not score, it makes the margin for error super, super slim in every other facet of the game. Take tonight as an example. If you're Jeremiah Estrada, you couldn't afford to give up a leadoff walk in this game. If you're Fernando Tatis Jr., you couldn't afford to get thrown out in a big spot there in the 8th inning and make a base running blunder. You couldn't afford it because your offense is not scoring enough to cover it up. You know what covers up a lot of mistakes? Putting up a 7 spot. You know what covers up a lot of mistakes? Hitting a couple of 3-run home runs, okay? You score, and you're not overly laser focused on these little aspects of games. And the games against the Phillies have been a prime example of them because they've been so close. Again, the scores against the Phillies so far, these 4 games in the past week, 3-0, 4-3, 3-0, 3-2. I mean, these are tight, low-scoring games. These games have been a really good example of if you don't score, then the margin for error and the difference between winning and losing is really, really minute. And it's the margin for error is really thin. So, look, unfortunately, that's going to continue to be the topic of conversation until the Padres start hitting better and scoring more. I mean, there's just no way around it, right? This offense, and look, there were silver linings to take away today. The fact that Fernando had another good day, and quite frankly, that first ball he hit, the double to begin the game, look, that was almost a home run. He hit it at 114 off the bat, 381 feet, few feet more, it's a home run. So that was a good sign. Fernando having 3 hits is a good sign. Gavin Sheets maybe getting it going a little bit again, good sign. But you do need more right now from this offense. And look, it's no secret. I think Craig Stammen clearly understands that. We've heard Manny Machado talk about that a ton as of late. I don't think it's any secret to anybody in that clubhouse, and especially the big-time hitters, that in order for the Padres to ultimately go where I think we all hope they can go, where they hope they can go, they're going to need this offense to kick it into a higher gear day in, day out. All right, let's step aside. When we come back, we'll get into our daily awards. If you want to get a phone call in, 833-288-0973. Phone number to dial. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up a little bit later as well. Final score here today, Phillies 3 and the Padres 2 on the Padres Radio Network. Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score today, Phillies 3 and the Padres 2. As always, our postgame coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey, player, the rooftop pool's open. Day passes are available, and the spa is calling your name. Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. Before we get to our relief pitcher of the game and our look at the heart of the order, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, there's part of me that just sometimes wishes we could live stream the conversations during the commercial break. And, for the most part, that wish actually is an internal wish because I'm usually the one bringing up these conversations. Kyle and I just quizzed Kyle on what he was going to make for dinner, why he was going to make it, how he came to that conclusion. I'm fascinated by people, I'm so basic. Like, I don't cook anything that's overly complicated, really. Like, I think tonight I'm going to do ground beef, avocado, maybe some rice, and that's it. That's like as complicated as I get. And Kyle's over here. He's what were they called? Loco Mocos? I've never even heard of that, but a dish with a hamburger on rice and gravy and a sunny side up egg. He's making casseroles. I mean, he's communicating with his girlfriend about what they're gonna eat. I'm fascinated by life. I'm like, man, I never think about what I'm gonna eat, and then I'm like, I guess I'll go to the store, but I'm like, man, maybe I'll get something on my way home. It's just, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll be organized. I'll have to coordinate. I'll cook for others. Who knows? Maybe one day it won't just be me. We'll see. All right, let's tell you about today's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, brought to you by San Diego criminal defense attorney David P. Shapiro. We help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Learn more at davidpshapirolaw.com.
All right, we got people out there saying, Sam, enough. Talk to us about the baseball. All right, back to the baseball. Relief pitcher of the game here today. We'll keep it on the Padres side of things because we can't give it to Estrada. Gave up the go-ahead run, took the loss in this game. Yuki Matsui, got in some trouble. Jason Adams did get out of that inning, which was a good job by him. We'll give it to Bradley Rodriguez. I'll give it to Bradley for this reason. Came in 8th inning in a 3-2 game, faced Marsh, Bohm, Stott, Crawford, got through it, kept it a 1-run game. And look, at that point in the game, when you've got one of the better closers in baseball in the flame-throwing Joan Duran looming in the bullpen, and the Padres have now seen him a ton over the course of the 4 games. In fact, 3 out of the 4 games have been saved now by Duran in these games between the Phillies and Padres so far this season. Rodriguez, my point is, did a good job keeping it a 1-run game, so we'll give relief pitcher of the game to the young Bradley Rodriguez. But no doubt, Phillies bullpen did a really good job protecting a 3-2 lead. Alvarado came in the 6th inning, kept it tied at 2, and then Kerkering, Keller, and Duran proceed to throw 3 scoreless innings. And Duran picked up his 13th save of the season. Now, I just want to remind myself, I'm going to take a quick look at the game log here for Duran. Right, he saved 3 out of the 4 wins. Yeah, I knew he missed one of them. So 3 saves in 4 wins for the Phillies against the Padres going back to just last week. So, look, it is something to keep in mind in the final 2 games of this series and of this regular season series against the Phillies. I mean, you cannot rely on having a big 9th inning rally. Not against Duran. He is really, really good. He's upper echelon as far as closers in the major leagues. So look, the Padres, to their credit, many times in the first third of the season, found ways to win games in dramatic fashion and come back late. Duran is a really tough guy to do that against, and that has been on full display against the Padres so far this year. Let's tell you about the Padres' heart of the order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the Heart of the Order, presented by Palomar Health, the official healthcare provider of 97.3 The Fan. Palomar Health, leading with heart for every patient. Palomar Health is reimagining healthcare.
Heart of the Order here today, 3, 4, 5 spots. Machado, Andujar, and Merrill. Manny went 0 for 4. Andujar did have a couple of hits in this game. Merrill 0 for 4, so relatively tough day for the Heart of the Order. 2 for 12 combined between Machado, Andujar, and Merrill. 3, 4, 5 spots, both hits coming courtesy of Miguel Andujar. All right, when we come back, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll quickly preview tomorrow's game, middle game of this series against the Phillies. If you want to squeeze a phone call in, maybe able to get you involved here, 833-288-0973. Phone number to dial. 3-2, Phillies beat the Padres in game one of this three-game set. Our post-game coverage continues after this. We continue our post-game coverage here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score here today, Phillies 3 and the Padres 2. This series continues tomorrow, same time, same place, with first pitch at 3:40. We will talk more about tomorrow's game coming up in just a little bit. But right now, let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
All right, Padres playing early in the day on the East Coast. So we have a number of finals, number of games just getting underway right now. Braves beat the Blue Jays 4-3 in Atlanta. Reds also beat the Royals 4-3 in 10 innings in Cincinnati today. Reds winning it in the bottom half of the 10th inning on a Blake Dunn RBI single. Reds win it. Remember, Padres play the Reds pretty soon in a couple of series. Marlins beat the Nationals 7-3 in D.C. Orioles beat the Red Sox at Fenway 4-2. Tigers beat the Rays for a second straight day 8-0 in Tampa Bay. Games going on right now. Guardians ahead of the Yankees 9-4 in New York in the 9th inning. The Twins lead the White Sox 6-4 in Minnesota in the 8th. Brewers lead the Giants 4-3 in Milwaukee in the 8th inning. Rangers and the Cardinals are tied at 4 in St. Louis in the 8th. The A's lead the Cubs 2-1 in Chicago in the 9th inning. Pirates lead the Astros 6-4 in Houston in the 7th. Rockies 3, Angels nothing in the 2nd in Anaheim. Dodgers lead the D-backs 4-0 in Arizona in the 2nd. And finally, the Mariners lead the Mets 2-0 in the 3rd in Seattle. And that is a very quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Tuesday evening. Final score, series opener in Philly. Phillies 3, Padres 2. Let's hear today's play of the game.
One bounce, one hit, one pitch can be the difference between victory and defeat. What was the most important play in today's game? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Restoration and Flood. We know how.
Harper swings, sends it in the air, deep to left center field. Merrill's back at the wall. He can watch because it's going to go. 2-run homer, Bryce Harper. That'll tie the game here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Well, unfortunately, that does qualify as our play of the game here today. No fun to hear a Bryce Harper home run, but kind of had to be that way today. Now, look, you could also argue that simply the double play ball off the bat of Bohm in the 6th inning was the play of the game because it gave the Phillies the go-ahead run and they won it 3-2. However, look, Padres led 2-0. Randy Vasquez to that point had been pretty good. And then Turner leadoff single, Harper 2-run home run, and boom, we had a tie game. So look, no fun for me either to be picking so many opposing plays for play of the game the last week and a half or so. But sometimes you go through stretches where that just is what it is. And that's the way it's been the last few days. And as of late for the Padres, who have now lost 7 of their last 8 games. We didn't really talk too much about Randy Vasquez in this game. Look, Randy was fine. He really was. I mean, gave up the 2-run home run. They took him out. You heard the explanation from Craig Stammen a little bit earlier. They didn't want him to go out and have to face the top of the Phillies lineup again in Harper. Well, not the top, but the middle of the lineup in Harper, Marsh, and Bohm. I mean, keep this in mind. To that point, Harper had a home run against him, and Marsh had 2 hits. So, look, for anybody out there that, is thinking, well, you should have left Randy in. He was doing fine. I understand why they didn't want him to face Harper and Bohm once again. So, is what it is. Estrada issues the leadoff walk in the 6th inning, and ultimately that run comes in to score, and the Padres lose this game by a final score of 3-2 on this Tuesday evening. All right, looking ahead to tomorrow, it'll be game 2 of this 3-game series between the Padres and the Phillies. First pitch tomorrow at 3:40 p.m. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show will begin at 2:40. On the mound for the Phillies, left-hander Christopher Sanchez. On the mound for the Padres, right-hander Walker Buehler. And as you probably know by now, Christopher Sanchez has been stellar as of late. In the month of May, Sanchez did not allow a run, 39 innings of work. He's got a scoreless inning streak that is now above 40 innings, in the midst of it right now. But again, just to give you a snapshot, in the month of May, no runs allowed, 25 hits. He struck out 45 in 39 innings. And oh, by the way, he just faced the Padres 7 shutout innings, gave up 6 hits. That was last week in San Diego. Now, I did think that Tony made a good point in the post-game wrap. I know this sounds a little weird, but the Padres did probably about as much as you're going to do against Sanchez in that game last week without scoring a run. Now, I know that sounds weird, and it doesn't make a 7 shutout innings performance against you sound much better. But if you want to take a little hope into tomorrow's game from a facing Christopher Sanchez standpoint, it's that the Padres did at least create activity against him. And you'd hope if they can do that again, well, maybe this time around you find a way to scratch across, a couple of runs against Christopher Sanchez. But no way around it. Tough customers on the mound next couple of days. Sanchez on the mound tomorrow, and to Zach Wheeler, who is very, very good on the mound for the Phillies on Thursday. But again, tomorrow, Buehler against Sanchez, first pitch at 3:40. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcast. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game coverage there as well. A look at the final totals here today for the Philadelphia Phillies, 3 runs, 9 hits, no errors. They left on 7. For the Padres, 2 runs, 7 hits, no errors. They left on 5. Winning pitcher in today's game was Jose Alvarado, who improves to a record of 2-1. Losing pitcher Jeremiah Estrada, who drops to 2-2. The save goes to Joan Duran, who picks up his 13th save of the season. Time of game, 2 hours and 38 minutes. And the crowd at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 38,763. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 3:40 p.m. Our pregame coverage begins at 2:40. Until then, for our great studio coordinator tonight, Kyle Obenshire, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from inside our San Diego studios. Again, the final score today, the Philadelphia Phillies 3 and the San Diego Padres 2. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great night, everybody.